Hello, folks. Richard Fontenay here, and welcome to the Fontenay Magazine e-learning podcast. Now, if you're returning, thank you very much for returning, and if you're new to the FM Learning podcast, thank you for joining us today. Now, I really do appreciate your participation, and if you're so inclined, give me a thumbs up. Oh, and if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to this channel. And I do want to thank all of those who have done so. And thank you in advance for doing so. Today's topic is about the 5 important ways to boost motivation. Why? Because your personal growth and development matter in everything that you do. So let's get on with it. Now, it's no secret that life can be tough. This is especially true for anyone who wants to live a purposeful and a fulfilling life. Now, here is something I found as one of the most important factors that kick us into overdrive and is responsible for us rising above the rest of the population, and that is motivation. Now, motivation is the one variable that allows us to push ourselves when those around us give up. It's the spark that gets our internal motor running to find and overcome one challenge after another. Now, if you're currently experiencing a motivational dry spell, or if you have never thought of yourself as a driven individual, but would like to become one though that is balanced in terms of the activity that you want to get engaged in, then this podcast is for you. Now, over the next several minutes, we'll discuss 5 helpful steps that are an effective way to enhance our overall motivation and to strive to achieve the goals that we set out for ourselves. Now, the first strategy is really to know your why. While it may seem obvious that knowing your reasoning and passion behind anything that you do, after all, that's a critical kind of a thing to know about. So when you first set out on your goal, though, the why you are doing is typically starts out pretty clear. However, somewhere in the grind of working towards that goal, often this foundational piece, that of knowing your why, can quickly become obscure. Now, make no mistake, anytime you are tirelessly work towards something worthwhile, no matter how important it is, there will be days in which you feel less motivated than others. Now, remaining conscious of why you started in the first place, that serves as your second wind to get you going again, to keep pushing you forward. The second thing that's important is to know your direction. Now, when we're fully motivated, we have a tendency to put our head down and work like there's really no tomorrow. While there are times when this mindset is beneficial, we also need to keep our overall direction in mind. We need to keep to the path that leads us in the direction of where we want to go. Now, the big goals that we have rarely consist of moving directly from point A to point B. They usually have a lot of detours along the way. So how do we handle that? Well, instead of thinking that you can go directly from point A to point B, it's important to have a general outline or a blueprint or a map that identifies the steps that you want to take toward your destination. So yes, while keeping your nose to the grindstone is a must, looking up every now and again to adjust your plan to begin the next phase of your blueprint is the only way to continue heading in the right direction. So, for instance, when you're building an addition to our house, when we were doing that, we had a blueprint, but we had a number of changes that we wanted to make along the way. In other words, we followed the blueprint, but made changes to fit new requirements. And that is really what you need to do with your overall directional plan. Number 3, allow for small victories. Now, no matter how much or how little motivation you have towards a goal, failing to enjoy small successes in pursuit of the finish line is a surefire way to run out of gas before you get there. While resting on our laurels and settling for less than what we want must be avoided at all costs, but depriving ourselves of the satisfaction along the way is also a detrimental thing. So when we're chasing our goals, we need to take some time to reward ourselves after accomplishing some of the small steps toward achieving them. Number 4, you versus you, rather than you versus them. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, this is a step that almost all of us need to hear from time to time. Keep in mind that your goals are your goals. Letting other people's interests dictate what you strive for is a bit of a slippery slope. After all, you will never find the motivation required to achieve anything great without a personal conviction to do so. So whatever it is you want, the only comparison that you need to make is really related to the person you were the day before and not someone else. So we're competing within ourselves and not in comparing with someone else. And number 5, that is really control your tunnel vision. Now consider this fact. Whatever big goal or achievement you are after most likely involves only one facet of your life. Whether your goal is about your career, being an athlete, or something more personal to you, the rest of your life is not going to stop while you go after that goal. It is inevitable that much of your motivation and energy is going to be focused on the biggest victory that you are after. However, I can assure you that your sense of fulfillment will be diminished upon reaching the finish line and realizing you have neglected every other facet of who you are in order to get there. So balance is always key. Don't let the rest of your life fall to the wayside while you chase one of your dreams. Now, I hope this podcast has been helpful to you. Let me know what you think about it and what you do. As an example, give me some sense of what you do when you feel unmotivated. How do you keep moving ahead? Now, thank you for listening. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And again, thank you in advance for doing so. Until we meet again next Wednesday, have a great week. And bye for now.